Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the A3U Review.
In this episode, we're going to take a look at FansProject, Lost Exo Realm, Volar, and Velos.
And afterwards, we're going to take a moment to clear up some confusion behind MasterMind Creations Tigris and Felisaber and how they all go together. Anyways, my name is Alex.
I'm Boris.
And you're watching
the A3U Review.
So here we got the Volar out of the box, and he comes out of the box in his Dinosaur mode, and this is some kind of like a Pteranodon or Pterodactyl.
It's a pterodactyl. It comes with all the accessories that you see here. It's got the bright red sword.
Yep.
Don't stab anyone with it.
Yeah, definitely don't.
It comes with the cool little transforming weapon friend.
Yep.
And basically, this guy's name is Velos.
Mm-hmm.
For you, those of you who don't know, it was updated that they were giving away the free bonus blue body with the original red. It does look really good with the blue. I actually like it better than the red, but the red is more uniform with the rest of the line because the rest of the line does come with that kind of a color scheme with the reds and the golds. So yeah, I mean, first impressions, what do you think?
I like the wings and all the things you can do with the wings. Very, very cool what they did with that. I also really like the head. I like the two colors, the gold and the red. I also like the way it looks on the side, right? The profile view. Everything else, I'm really not a big fan of. I'm not a fan of the size of the torso. I'm also not a fan of the way the legs are so thick that to the point where he doesn't even look like a properly proportioned dinosaur.
It's a little bit thick on the legs.
Yeah, it's very, very thick. Like he's wearing like baggy hammer pants.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's got like this kind of, you know, his foot is in the back here. And I'm just gonna show it really quickly here. The foot is in the back there, so it kind of like flips upwards, right? And that's the fact that it kind of sticks out a little bit, I think gives it that extra weight in the back. But if you pose the feet properly with the ball joints, everything, you can counterweight it really nicely. I think that was really cool. The feet are actually pretty sturdy for such tiny feet, and I mean, that's kind of accurate. Pterodactyl has actually very, very tiny feet. But yeah, I think I agree with you. There are a couple of things that are out of proportion, and I mean, I do really love this line. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, this is a great line.
But I do feel that there's something just not right about the proportions on this one. I actually have a little bit of an issue with even the head sculpt a little bit. I feel it's a little bit thick. It's a big head for what it is. Like I kind of feel like it has no neck either, and I felt like it should have been a little bit more streamlined than that. So it's definitely a little bit beastier than
I see what you mean.
Expected.
You look at it from the side, and I can see what you're talking about when comparing it to the torso, the size of the torso.
Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, I like the use of the little
the rocket launchers.
The rocket launchers.
I love
in
the
back.
rocket launchers.
They can also be taken off and put under the wings. So if you kind of have them in flight mode. The painted launchers are a really nice touch too.
Nice
instead
touch.
of just flat plastic.
Yeah.
It gives it a much higher end look to it. Let's get into robot mode.
Sure.
And, you know, maybe stop harping on all the little mishaps. Overall, I think it's still very cool.
Yeah.
You know, pterodactyl.
And here is Volar and Velos in their robot modes. And I gotta say that both of them look good.
Yeah, this is a really cool little weapon friend.
Yeah, I'm actually quite impressed at how something as simple as that weird looking weapon turns into this cool looking mini robot.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice touch. I like the color scheme and everything.
And as for Volar, he looks way better in his robot mode compared to his dinosaur mode.
Yeah, what stands out the most to me is the head sculpt.
Okay, the head sculpt is
actually
good.
Looks really, really nice.
Yeah.
The only thing I did have to mention is kind of like articulation of this, the head kind of suffers here.
Okay.
It really can only move kind of side to side. It goes up and down, but it's not very much movement. It kind of gets stopped. Right here.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would say about the legs is you gotta be careful. There's some ratcheting happening in here, and they're actually really loose on this one once again.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if that's on every single one, but I have heard that it's little bit of an issue. But other than that, the color scheme is great.
Yeah.
Love the proportions, love the posability. It's actually really fun to play
Yeah.
around with.
The lack of head articulation didn't really bother me, but what did bother me around the head is if you look at like right there, there's this all this extra space. You see that? All this extra space. It looks like it's out of place. Like there's just no beef or meat in between his neck and his shoulder. It's like missing something. It's like a chunk out of it, and it makes his head just look kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
so yeah, basically
it's odd.
It's just in here, right?
Yeah, that's right.
This has to do with what I also noticed in Dino mode with the head, where the throat was kind of like very large.
Yeah.
So because it is, that's where it also hinges. You can see that this piece actually sticks out quite a bit.
Yep.
There's quite a bit of gap there.
Yeah.
Again, a minor kind of, grievance, but it's, if we are reviewing it.
Yeah, we gotta talk about it.
I gotta point it out, right?
Yeah.
You know what? How did you find the transformation?
The transformation is simple. I mean, like, you don't need instructions. You look at it, the wings stay in the same place, right? You just move it a little bit. The arms come out, the head obviously flips down, but all you're really doing is playing with the legs, just flipping them out. Because if you look at the leg in the dinosaur mode, that's the same legs that are in the robot mode. So all you're doing is just flipping them out. You know why it looks like that, because of the thickness of the robot like legs, right?
I found it definitely very predictable. I did like what was happening in the chest here. I mean, it kind of like does this like open and slide up thing.
Yeah, that was
to
cool.
accommodate the chest, and then it pegs in.
Yeah.
So there's some thought put into that.
Yeah.
That middle part actually quite a bit. But yeah, otherwise I'd say that it's actually very straightforward.
Yeah.
So, nothing to be afraid of when you're transforming this guy. I'd like to just take a chance to just quickly look at it in the blue color, because I do actually like it with the blue chest. So let's just take a look.
All right, here is Volar with the blue torso.
It looks good. I love it. But yeah, just a word of warning for those of you who are gonna swap it. It is pretty straightforward, but there's a few things that you just have to watch out for. One of the things is the arms here. They are on really tight ball joints. So when you pop them off and put them on, you actually have to be really careful of the whole ratcheting system here, because the arms, they actually move forward and back on a ratcheting system. When you're actually putting the arms on, you kind of don't want to do it in this position. You want to have it flipped around to the back, and in the back, when the ball joints are on the back, you want to just be really careful to kind of clip it on while it's behind. Otherwise, if you don't, the ball joint will flip to the front, and there's a very small little plastic piece that makes up the ratchet system. And if the ball joint swings around and hits that small little piece of plastic, it'll actually push that plastic back. It could break it. So just be really careful with that. Same thing with the wings. Make sure when you clip them in, you're holding it and you hear a little, click when it clicks in, otherwise it's gonna keep falling off, that kind of stuff. And then the actual legs, they do require you to have a screwdriver. Yep. To remove the back plate a little bit. Just be, like with all things, be really careful when you're unscrewing it. Don't cause any undue stress. And then once you got the legs in, make sure that the plate really lines up before you commit to screwing it back in, because there's also ratcheting joints in his legs that require these to be flush. Otherwise, you're gonna have legs that are swinging everywhere. Okay? Yeah. And then last but not least, the head. The head pops off really quickly. It's actually on a pretty small ball joint. It's not very tight. But you also have to remove the headpiece. Now, there's a couple of ways to do it. You could force it and remove the actual head by just trying to pop it off, but it's actually really tight. It's also on a ball joint. So as you can see, there's screws on the side here, and you have to kind of unscrew some of them. At least loosen it and pop off the head. If you feel brave enough, you can actually split this whole entire head in half. Just when you're doing it, be really careful once again, because take a look at the seams and make sure the paint is not connected on the seams. What'll happen if you split it open at that point is it'll actually take some of the paint off.
Yeah.
So you don't want that either. So a good compromise is to release the back screw. Just kind of eke enough space, like a millimeter of space, and then pop out the ball joint. If you can do it that way, that's probably the cleanest way. If not, you can try like what I'm showing by taking apart the head, and then you won't have to worry about any kind of tightness or breaking it. And then just be really careful again once you screw it back in. And like I said, be mindful of the gold paint on there. It can chip off if you don't do it properly. Otherwise, you know, it's actually straightforward. It goes where you would expect it to go.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, exercise, you know, care when doing it, and you should do just fine.
Yeah. So I mean, having said that though, let's give this a review. Oh, and don't forget, this also comes with a fix for Columpio.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We're not reviewing that, but I just want to make sure you guys know that that comes in it.
Yep.
So yeah, let's give this guy a review.
Sure. For aesthetic, I'm giving him an 8.5. I love the way he looks as a robot, both with the red and the blue torso. It doesn't matter, he just looks great. The wings also make it look really, really awesome. The only problem I have with it is really the dinosaur mode. The legs are out of proportion, so it's not gonna be seeing a whole lot of its dinosaur mode. I will be showing it off in its robot mode a lot.
Echo that, I'm giving it an 8. Love it in the robot mode in both the colors. I prefer the blue, but the styling, proportions, everything considered is great in robot mode. Dinosaur mode won't be really displaying it in dinosaur mode, unfortunately.
For playability, I'm gonna give it a 7.5. There's a lot you can do with this guy. As you can already see, we can swap out the torsos. There's a lot of posability, but I think I will be playing with it a lot, especially with the wings, because I want to get it in that perfect pose, and then afterwards I'm going to want to play with the wings a lot more to get it in another pose, so I know I'm going to be doing a lot with this guy.
I'm going to give it an 8 for playability, because I agree with you. The wings have a lot of fun factor to it. There's a lot to be played around with. There's also places to put all the weapons. There's actually quite a few places to put stuff. As you can see, the sword also gets held here on his waist. Lots of really cool factors, and don't forget the little weapon friend that he has is also a great addition to the playability, right?
For innovation, I'm gonna give him an 8. I think FansProject put quite a bit of thought into this, but they did put most of the thought into the robot mode because he does look great. In the dinosaur mode, not so much, but I see that they put a lot of energy into making this look like a really, really great figure, and the transformation was pretty cool as well.
For me, it's a 7. The innovation for me wasn't quite there from what I've expected of FansProject in terms of the transformation, so that had to do a lot with lowering the score a little bit. However, in terms of taking the design and really bringing it kind of to a new era, I really think that they've done a good job with the robot mode, especially. It's a great take on it. It's got a lot of great design cues with the wings and making it not just be able to, like, you know, fold in and have it in 3 sections where it can actually articulate, as well as fold in. And of course, the added weapon friend really is their take on this whole dinosaur realm, and having that plus all this really gives it some extra innovation, although it's not as high as it could have been if it also had some very unexpected transformations.
So my overall score is an 8.
And my overall score is a 7.66.
This is something that you have to have, especially if you have the other dinosaurs from the Lost Exo realm. It'll complement your collection very, very well.
I agree.
Okay, so you guys are probably wondering, why do we have these two in front of us? We got Tigress and Felisaber. Well, it turns out that there are a lot of inquiries lately about how this guy fits into the whole grand scheme of things when it comes to the feral cons.
I get a lot of questions first and foremost about why Felisaber is even needed for the combined mode, which is Feral Rex.
Yeah.
A lot of people that have either come into this late or have already purchased all 5 of the Feral Cons and created Feral Rex sometimes realize that, hey, what is, you know, Felisaber? Do I need him to actually complete the figure? Some people actually think that you do, and you actually don't. The Felisaber is actually part of an extra storyline. I believe it's called the Battle for Moratoris.
Yeah,
that's right. It's all in here, and basically he creates what's called the Feral Rex Ultimate Mode. So he replaces Talon on the left arm, and he becomes the new left arm. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, so you guys are going to have to read the story in order to know exactly what it's all about. But that's kind of how it all fits in, Alex. It's actually a very simple, cool little extra playability thing for Feral Rex and the fans of Feral Rex. But to answer the actual question, you don't have to have it to have a complete Feral Rex. You can just have up to Tigress and create Feral Rex, and it looks super awesome.
Yeah.
Right? I'll tell you though, Felisaber does come with some extra things. Comes with some extra heads for some of the other Feral Cons. Sorry. As well as that, it comes with a little
collector's card.
Yeah, collector's card, of course. It comes with all of the Feral Cons, and then this little.
What are those?
Show it here. Little little tabs for they're like little sticky feet, so that you could put it on the bottom of Feral Rex's feet, so he stands a little bit better without sliding around. So that's really cool that they've added those kind of little extras. So another good reason to purchase Felisaber. And also Felisaber has a really cool look to it. He comes with a couple of extra or different kind of head sculpts. This one fits onto that. And as in cat mode, it actually looks pretty awesome. It looks really cool. And the yellow color here, it looks really, really great. It's really sharp. I really like it. Once again, don't have to have it, but if you want to add more playability to Feral Rex, then you'll want to get this. Just like you'll want to get this for Feral Rex to hold.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's gonna be the new reformatted Synicus. We're gonna be definitely reviewing this on the next episode. This is just a teaser, but you can see the scale of the gun. We're gonna pop that into robot mode in the next review and give you guys a review of the reformat Synicus.
So make sure you stay tuned to that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's our episode for today. We hope you enjoyed it.
Next week, we're going to take a look at the R12 MasterMind Synicus.
That's going to be a really, really great episode. You don't want to miss that. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, Ages 3 and Up, and also follow us on Twitter at Ages 3 and Up. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.